Hi friends, welcome to my channel. This is my first video here on the channel where I will be taking you with me on my latest move from Bordeaux, France to Würzburg, Germany by train. I hope you enjoy. As a person with a lot of travel anxiety, I love to watch videos like this one whenever I'm about to move or need to pack my things. Whenever there is a stressful situation regarding traveling or moving, I will usually pack and at the same time have a video like this one play. I hope I can be this motivation for you to relax just a little bit. I know that it's very hard. I myself cannot do that. This is the third time I'm attempting to move countries with all my things packed in suitcases and with my cat Scony. So I hope that I have learned something and that I can share it with you. So the first step is planning. Planning occurs a couple of months before the move. You need to find a house, you need to book your tickets, and it's never fun, especially when you're looking for a house in a place that you haven't been and you are not there at the current moment. So you cannot do house viewings, you have to be extra careful of scams and so on. What I have found is that sometimes you need to book your tickets even before you have found a house. This creates a pressure on you to actually find a house by the time that you are supposed to arrive, but it also creates a good framework to work on. You can let your landlords know when you're coming. You know if you need to book a stay on an Airbnb or a hotel until the opening of your apartment. And personally, I find that this pressure to find a house helps me look more proactively and not get too stressed and inactive. You have to be really aware of scams. One specific one that I can bring your attention to is the Booking.com scam. They will send you an email, maybe not directly, but a few days later. The first sign to look is that they will have removed the posting from the website even before you have initiated the conversation with them. So then you cannot find the pictures again, you cannot find the address. A lot of time the pictures from the original posting, if you have them somewhere, usually had at least one picture of the house on the email, and I could see that it was not matching the apartment that they were sending me. But obviously the most visible sign that this is a scam is that they're asking you to book your stay through Booking.com. You should know that Booking.com does not support long-term stays like 6 months, for example, that I was looking for. It says so on their website. This is probably a scam and you will never get your money back. I will not get into too much detail. They're probably using a site that looks like Booking.com when you're making the transaction, so you can feel the safety of the larger corporation that is Booking.com, and they will protect you from scams, but they actually cannot against these scams. So whenever you see an email that says, I live abroad with my husband, but my house is there, so I cannot give you the keys directly, so you have to pay in advance, just know that this is most probably a scam. Personally, I found a house through an agency called HC24. I think it only operates on German cities and not in all of them, but they have their own website and also post their houses in other websites where you could be looking for a house. Usually they have pictures of the apartment where they have placed one of their own cardboard logos somewhere in the apartment, so you know that they have been there and that the apartment exists. After some requests, probably I drew the attention of an agent, they sent me an email back saying to fill out the request form, and after that they found all the potential houses for me and acted completely like an agent would if I was in Würzburg, but it was all online. From the moment I spoke with them, it was less than 48 hours and I had a signed contract for my house in Würzburg. With that said, it was not a cheap option. I think that they specialize in short-term stays, so their rents can be a bit higher than they expected, which comes with a tip that you should definitely save some money ahead of time for your move, because you will need to make a lot of deposit and upfront payments. For example, I had to stay in this Airbnb before moving into my apartment on the 1st of February. So this was a lot of money that had to go out of my account very fast. You really need to plan that expense ahead. The second step is packing up, of course. We have found a house, hopefully. We have booked our plane or train tickets, and we just have to pack up our whole house and life and cat and everything and just move to this different country. In this specific move, I didn't have many restrictions when it came to how much luggage I can carry and their size of them, because we were traveling by train. However, I must say that the train rules are more or less, depending on the company, that you can take as much luggage as you want as long as you can carry it by yourself. And this is a whole matter in itself, because we personally overestimated how much baggage we can carry. Well, to be fair to ourselves, it wasn't the overestimation, it was the fact that we really needed to pack all our things up and move to another country, and we really tried to fit as much as we could in our available suitcases, but it was really hard to move them from point A to point B whenever we had to change trains. This is something we didn't expect. You usually don't have a lot of time to board the train after you know in which platform it will come, or to get out of the train before it moves to the next destination, given that the destination you're going is not the final one. So I would suggest that if you're planning to move by train, to not take more than one big luggage per person and a backpack or one small suitcase as well. Luggage specifications aside, you still need to find ways to fit what you really want and the essentials into the luggage that you have available. And this can be a challenge. This might make you think that you need to part with a lot of things that you find valuable, and can cause a lot of stress on top of moving countries, making large trips, and all the rest. So I would suggest that if your dream, plan, or whatever reason has you moving countries often and without having the budget to hire a professional move team, you have to embrace the life of a minimalist, at least to a certain degree. Here I will be a little bit controversial, and I think that, at least for me that have severe travel anxiety, leaving the packing for the very last days can significantly help. Here we are. I know that it's all about preparedness and having enough time to handle all the situations and whatever might arise. However, it can be really emotionally challenging to see your house gradually getting emptier and emptier pending the move, especially if the day of the move and the traveling gives you a lot of anxiety already. So I suggest that, because you will need a lot of the things that you will pack, especially if you don't have many things in general, and because you will be stressed out, you leave the packing for the 2 to 3 final days, depending on how many things you have. For me personally, 2 days are always more than enough to pack everything up. The only thing that I start earlier than that is decluttering, finding the things that I will definitely either not take with me at this time and to keep for me until I come back to get them. Right now I have things all over Europe that I have to get. And 2, finding things that I need to dispose of, like clothes that I will not be wearing anymore, appliances if you can't leave them for the next tenant. In some cases they don't allow you to leave anything in the house, and you want to discard them in a sustainable way. So you want to look for charities that take second-hand clothes, or even if you need some more financial support and you start really early, you can see about selling them in apps like Vinted and other thrift apps that might be more active in your region. This time around I came up with a nice idea on how to dispose the consumables that were left over in my fridge and cupboards on the final day of the move. I always try to eat everything on the days before the move, but sometimes you can't eat all of the things that you have stored, especially pasta, rice, staples that you have a lot of just in case of emergency. So an idea that I came up with for using them rather than throwing them, especially the open packages, was to invite some friends over and make a buffet of a lot of things. I came up with recipes that included most of the things that I had open at the time, and we made about 3 dishes. In the end, only 5 people ended showing up, and the 2 had already eaten, so we had to eat it among the 3 of us. It was a lot of food, but we were very happy and full, and it served also as a farewell party since we were leaving on the next day. Step 3 of the process is traveling. Obviously, you need to do the traveling part to reach your destination. So now we're all packed up and planned. The date on your tickets has arrived, and you have to get yourself to the station or to the airport or wherever you need to be to get to your destination. Now, this can be tricky depending on the mode of travel. I have found that each one of them has its own unique difficulties. For example, airplanes are very structured. You cannot take liquids. You have restrictions on what you can put in your luggage. You have restrictions on weight. It can also be quite expensive, and especially if you have a pet like me, not all of the airlines allow pet. The cheaper ones like EasyJet and Ryanair, they don't allow them at all. And then the more expensive ones can charge you quite a significant amount to carry your pet with you. Trains, on the other hand, can be quite more flexible in what you can get with you. You don't have to stress so much. If on the last day you discovered you have one more little tote bag with you, this will not be an issue. However, the problem with trains is that you have to carry and handle all your luggage by yourself throughout the trip. That includes making sure that they're safe where they are, they're not falling around, hitting people, which happened to me almost this time around. You need to make sure that they are close to you. And as I said earlier, you need to make sure that you can handle bringing them on and off the train by yourself in the limited amount of time that you have. Other than luggage, I find train and airplane travel quite similar. In both cases, it was a quiet environment, relaxing, comfortable seats, depending also on the company that you choose to travel with, which can be a game changer when you're carrying a lot of things and a pet. My boyfriend was actually able to pull out his laptop and do some work on the train. However, because of travel anxiety, the more things you need to do per checkpoint, the more stress you will have during the travel. For example, this time around, I was not able to relax or sleep on the 6 hours from Bordeaux to Strasbourg because I was stressing about getting on the train, since we had such a terrible experience with our first boarding, because we were misguided by the train staff and we had to go back and forth on the platform to then get on a car that was not our car and then move all our luggages internally while the train was moving. Long story, but in general it didn't help my anxiety and it made me anxious for the whole trip because I was always dreading the part where you have to switch. If that's not the case, what you can do is bring a book, listen to a podcast, or if you have company, then that's great. This was my first time having company on my trip and it was really great to share this anxiety. What I did was going over the plan again and again to my boyfriend and telling him how we're gonna do it, at what exact time we need to get up, pack our things, to start moving again, and this helped me a lot with my anxiety. Other activities I enjoy sometimes when I'm not so stressed is people watching. I love to see what other people are doing on a train or on a plane. And it's a really nice moment of like people meeting that can be from very different backgrounds live, which I guess is true for everyday life too, but in travel it just enhances that feeling for me. As a rule of thumb, I would say get some snacks on you. I tend to treat myself to one nice meal at the station or the airport, like fast food, if that's your thing. I really like fast food. I don't get to eat it often, so when I travel I like to get me a big meal and enjoy that. Make room in your budget to treat yourself to something nice, because most of the day, especially if it's a long trip, you will be running on very little food and it would be nice for you to treat yourself like that. Another thing I would suggest for plane and train travel alike is bringing with you a little banana pack or fanny pack, I don't know how they call them, something like this one that you can just strap around your waist, or like this, I think is the fashion now, and you can keep inside your wallet, your IDs, passports, ticket, boarding passes, anything that you need to pull out often while you travel, so you don't run the risk of dropping other things from your bag, and also it's more convenient, easy to reach, and close to you, and this can really speed up the process. Another more specific thing is traveling with pets. I travel with my cat, Scony, always. She doesn't particularly like it, but if you are interested to know some tips about how to travel with pets, what to look for in tickets and airlines, how to manage the stress of the pet and yourself, and how to make the pet feel more like home when you reach your destination, leave a comment down below telling me that you're interested, and I will make sure to make a video about that separately because it's a big topic on itself. Finally, we have the first day. I say first day because if you arrive at night, it doesn't really count, you're just exhausted, you have to sleep. So we're counting the first day as the first morning that you spent at your destination. Congratulations, you've made it to this point, you have packed up your whole life, you have traveled potentially for hours and a lot of anxiety. Trust me, I've been there now 3 times and I am really proud of you for making it to this point. I would say that the first day is all about a celebration of you reaching this point, treating yourself and doing really whatever your heart desires to do. But I have some things that you want to keep in mind on your first day there. Depending on if you're at a hotel, an Airbnb, or the house that you have rented already, you might need to make some lists, sanitary products, kitchen essentials, to check what is already in the house and what you will need to buy. When you're living centrally and you can just go to the store whenever you really need something, then you don't need to stress so much about getting everything on the list, especially if budget is an issue. You can just start with prioritizing some things. Heads up, in Germany, because we arrived the Saturday night really late, on Sundays nothing is open. I guess in some bigger cities, some mini markets or train station markets can be open, but in Würzburg specifically there was nothing open, and that can really influence your budget as well, so keep that in mind. So yeah, that's it. You're now here, you can go out and do whatever it is that you came here for, and you can finally relax and take care of that anxiety that's built up. In my experience, it takes some time to get out of your body, so make sure to not take too much responsibilities and stress on yourself if possible in the couple first days at your destination, and yeah, just keep it chill. Pretend to be a tourist for a couple of days. And that's all my tips for how to move countries. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I will make a lot more like this one. So if you want to see them, you can click on the subscribe button. Up here will be my latest video if you want to check that out. Thank you so much for being here and watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!